clean enough.
Yeah, I think I cleaned it last week. After.
Thank you.
One time I let stuff sit in those tubs for like a week. And it was just so ugly.
Jesus.
I'm not sure what you said there.
Did not know there were bunkers, obviously.
No, you know what? Maybe beyond the lessons months, they just dicking around.
I don't know that I'm gonna either. Now they're gonna be burning bridges as quick as they come up.
The problem is you might be burning them to get on the other side. So you're stuck on the side. And
That's true, right? Yeah, good analogy.
Are they on? Ready? Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4.
They talk about it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We'll just adjust volume when they get in here. We'll do a check.
We're all loaded, we got the laptop up.
Oh yeah.
No.
Check the stream.
I checked the stream on the desktop.
It's all good. And we can hear
I haven't checked the audio yet.
How's our picture look?
It's okay.
Kind of hot here.
Fix this.
Where we're about.
I hope you have about 4 bathrooms in your house. That's a good thing. That's all good.
I was gonna ride my bike today, but I was like, no, because if something happens, then I'm gonna be late for X's and Omar.
Like what could happen?
I get hit by a car or something. If I get hit by a car, I'm not. If I get hit by a car, I'm
You're
not
worried
going
that you're gonna miss exit over if you get hit by a car?
Yeah.
Nice, I like that.
You ever been hit by a car?
No.
I've hit twice.
Right.
And yeah, the first time was right in my own neighborhood. Someone was backing out behind the truck. And it was lucky because they were just pulling out of the neighborhood, but yeah, I went over, went off the side.
On a
And it was
bike?
just like a sweep. Yeah.
I hit twice. That explains a lot.
And then,
Yeah. And the other time was just
I didn't
somebody
say
pulling out of
it,
a plaza.
Really?
and then what?
The second time was somebody pulling out of a plaza. A truck.
And you're on the sidewalk
Yeah.
riding your bike.
Yeah. So they were both at like 5 miles an hour.
Did you see Tracy Morgan on
Did you
SNL?
cry?
The second time I didn't even really get hurt, like next to the side of a bike. But the first time I went off the bike.
Write down the name on the door. Give it to your lawyer. Of course, you were on the sidewalk, you shouldn't have been on the sidewalk.
And I did probably super. Well, there's no bike lane. And I would
It's right
rather.
on the side of the road.
No, there's a bunch of weird laws.
I'm not interested in doing that.
No, true, but that's where you would have lost it.
No, I ride in the middle of the. There's no bike lane. I ride right in the middle of the one, just to the right of the oil mark the cars leave. Because if you're on the side like that, what the people do is they go like that and they come back in on their phones or whatever. And they hit the middle of that sucker.
So they just hit you straight away instead of this fucking around bit.
Yeah.
Don't fuck around, just hit my
No,
ass.
then they're forced to either wait or I'll go to the side and go, either them. Take the waiting.
Wait till I come up behind you.
You're one of those guys that hates
Oh,
bikes.
train horns. You heard those?
I mean, do you have them?
Cars. They have them in cars now, it sounds like a friggin' train. You would fly
That's
off
an
your bike
understatement.
just like Jesus.
Your lawsuit's pending?
No, listen, I didn't know. I'm not sure. Wasn't confident. What's happening?
Thank you for the tips.
No problem.
When coachy coach talks, he's supposed to put to bed once and for all the snacks.
Okay, yeah.
First source was saying that too, but then other people were saying
Sorry, the script
no,
was really late.
so
Who?
I don't know
The mother stuff. Yeah, okay.
about the mother's death.
Did they?
These are live, just a heads up.
Okay. Did they confirm the not the D'Onofrio? Did they say yesterday D'Onofrio safe?
They didn't say anything.
Yeah.
They just said, on Sunday they said, those are the only ones making today.
Yes, D'Onofrio is safe for now. He's not. I mean,
Had a long tour and she was happy. She's also very happy I got to have labor down there today. Because of course they
yeah. I've been on that. Yeah. Is this a new mic situation? No, it's the same mic situation. Where's my little fuzzy thing? Yeah, I don't care, but could put it on the jacket. Thank you. Oh, so the camera or just the mics are live? Both. Okay. Well, if you're watching, we're gonna have an extended X's and Omar question and answer session. Why is there light? Why is that light off, or is it normally off?
I think we used it last week. Look at it.
I think that one's on, isn't it?
No, that one.
Wasn't there a problem with the reflection? Yeah, it doesn't look right.
Yeah. Matt's coming. I saw him in the parking lot.
We got the reflection.
How you been, man?
I'm all right. How are you?
Doing good?
What's going on?
Similar stuff. Another day. Come over and say hello.
Yeah. So how's it going?
Busy.
Talent level in Broward is good or
Good. It's too ridiculous.
two? Like, are all of them seniors or some of them juniors?
Senior class is great.
Senior class, great.
Yeah, great. It's probably the one of the best senior classes we've had in a long time.
Like the Patrick Peterson year. I remember Patrick Peterson. A lot of guys in the NFL. The linebackers, Jabal Sheard.
Right.
The Spence. No, I mean I look at it from just Dade County.
Was Shazier that he did at the
Huh?
same time? Was Ryan Shazier at that same time?
Shazier, yes, Shazier was there. Yes, I remember. That was like the last year that I covered the Canes, and I got my makeup too.
Good.
Put my makeup on at home.
But you got so many guys that are ranked in the top 20 but in position around the country. I mean, you got guys like Nick Boza.
Yeah.
Defensive end, number one in the country. And then, we got guys that are in the top 100 in the nation going into next year already.
It's the
Like
juniors.
Trayvon Grimes from St. Thomas. He's ranked number 6 wide receiver in the country. He's a junior class. So, 6'4", 195. That's a
For high
great
school?
size for a wide receiver.
In high school, yeah.
And he's already a 2-time state hurdle champ. So he has speed and ability to leap.
That's good.
Yeah,
Athlete.
he's a great kid too.
Dylan,
Yes.
need a picture?
So. What's up, man?
How you doing?
Doing great. How are you? I'm not too bad for a decent one.
Whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah, horizontal's better.
Horizontal's better. Okay, hold on. You ready?
Yeah.
Hold on. I dressed myself today.
Yeah,
We're
you
good.
look pretty sharp there.
Thank you.
Yeah, like 3.
All right.
All right. Okay.
Legendary status there.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Boca game? Yeah, it's gonna be huge.
Then Atlantic plays Dwyer next week too.
Yeah. Two big ones.
Boom, boom, boom.
They really are.
A little more excited for Pahokee Glade Central next week. Oh baby. Oh baby.
Man, I can't believe Pokey beat
They just crushed them. Not that bad. You knew it that bad?
I thought so.
Really?
But I got some tips on Fort Meade that they weren't the Fort Meade of old. They used to play them all the time. It'd be nice to see Bogey back there, the good old days, no?
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, we did.
Who they played didn't matter.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Glade Central's now pretty decent too. So.
Yeah, they can be all right.
Audio good?
Matt, can I get
Yeah, 1 2 3. Check 1 2. 1 2 3. What it is, what it do. All right.
About your belt.
his mic on?
Are we doing the extra?
Yeah. So Sarah was saying, so finish the show just like regular, so
Yeah.
we can end there, and then as soon as you do your sign off, I'll run credits. So just hold tight, and then I'll let you know when the credits go off, and then
Okay.
you guys, you know.
Say it at the beginning of the show that we're
Right.
going to do an extra
Yeah.
one.
Well, then I just need a laptop,
Oh, okay, yeah.
so I can be watching, so I can be reading
Yeah.
as we go along.
I can. Well, you want me to give you mine?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. I'll give you mine. What do you want to
Okay.
do? Pull it off the floor?
Yeah, I
Or-
probably will just pull it off the floor.
Okay.
When the credits go, you guys will have like 10 seconds where you're not.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Oh, we're up.
Huh?
Apologize for being a little late here.
We're not up till I can tweet out the link. It's always one more. What the hell is this Windows Server crap? Where's the link? I hate that there's no like tweet out. I want to do 20 questions today.
20 questions?
20 questions.
Where are they?
Cool. They're here.
Okay. Oh, let's take some rapid fire questions from the fans watching live. All right, we're doing that after though.
Why don't we take some during? I mean, you're going to get rapid fire during, right?
If that's what, that's not exactly what the plan was.
Okay.
The plan was to take those.
But I think the
select-
show's going to be short, but maybe it's not.
I don't think so. I think we'll have plenty to talk about.
All right, you run it. So you. Okay. Just turn your phone off. And I have some favorited too. So let me go to my favorites. Because I had to write the script Sunday night, so it's kind of crappy to. You didn't get the best questions. People were either drunk or. How do you find your favorites? There we go. Boom. Okay. Let me unfavorite some of these. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. All right. Are we ready? Is that what are we supposed to be beginning? So you want the computer
Yeah, I want
On-
it running
on
the show.
Okay. Let me see if I can pull up the X's and Omar hashtag. Oh, you want to go in the question? How do you want the questions to go from the chat? Because I don't
Yeah,
even
from
know
the
how to
chat.
get. Jamel has got to give us the access to the chat.
Probably just click on the link from
Okay, right here. This.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. Are you sure it's going to be updated?
Yeah, it updates automatically.
Okay, all right, cool. And I will leave up a Twitter just in case you want that action. Huh? All right.
All right. So,
Can they see that?
can I put it there?
That's fine.
It's in the keyboard's in the shop, but it doesn't.
Yeah. I don't, if it,
Yeah, that's fine. That's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm copying it out of your tweet.
Okay.
Now, still good?
It's okay.
What about-
Maybe a little more toward the edge this way, toward the camera.
Toward this. Cool.
All right,
All right.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Great.
And for that last 5 minutes, if you wanted to, you could pull it over.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of between you and straight in front of
All right, we need a hair check. No strays?
One string. There you go.
Alright.
Good.
Oh.
Hey, that. Same one. Just came back. Hey, you're good.
All right.
Perfect. Alright.
Quiet.
Welcome to the Thursday night edition of, well, the Tuesday afternoon for a Thursday night edition of X's and Omar. A very short week to enjoy what was a very sweet, huge 44-26 victory over the Houston Texans at home that featured the most dominating first half of football in Miami Dolphins history.
Not only that, but it was the first time since 1984 that the Dolphins have led the league in scoring for 2 straight weeks. And not only that, put up that quantity, that amount of points. I believe it's 85 points. Haven't done it since 1984. First time in history the Dolphins have actually led the league in scoring for 2 straight weeks. You're seeing a completely renovated, re-imaged Dolphins team. They've gone from finesse to physical. They've changed their personality, and it's going to be a challenge for opponents to prepare for them just because you don't know what to expect.
And they have a big opponent coming up this week, Thursday night, New England. We're going to get to that game. We're going to break down a little bit more about this past week's game. And also, we're going to do something a little bit different this week. We're on a different day, but we're going to start taking more of your live questions on a live exclusive coming up after X's and Omar. So if you'd like your questions asked and you're on right now watching us, make sure you send us some questions. We'll get to you after the show is over.
Put it in the comments section. You can hashtag it X's and Omar on Twitter. We'll look there and also put it in the comment section and we'll get to it. My goal is 20 questions answered today.
We'll see if we can get there, knowing the way you answer. I'm not sure if we're going to get to 20. We might be here all day. This practice starts here in a couple hours. Okay, so let's start with those 2 games. Both happened with Dan Campbell at the helm. Does this 2-game dominance have staying power?
I think it does because the style of football, you got to understand, this is still the remnants of a Bill Parcells team, which is big, physical. A lot of the players that were drafted, added by Parcells, fit that style, fit that scheme. So this team is built to play a physical brand of football. Now, under Joe Philbin, they weren't playing a physical brand of football. They were more of a finesse team, West Coast, pass. And what you're seeing now is when you balance this team out, you take the pressure off Ryan Tannehill's shoulders and you put it on the offensive line, you put it on the running game, it can go far. I mean, Lamar Miller's run for 100 yards in the first half of every single of the last 2 games. This is the same guy who averaged 3.5 yards per carry and was only limited to 9 carries a game 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And now he's the leader in the NFL in yards per carry average at 6. They have talent to be a physical team. They have talent to be a team that wins at the line of scrimmage. And my firm belief, even though fantasy football is driving this, pass happy spread, pretty offense league and making it more popular, you win NFL games, you win college games by winning in the trenches.
I don't think it's fantasy football. That's No, it's the fact that the receivers can do whatever they want. Cornerbacks can't do anything. That's why, and quarterbacks can't get hit. That's why we're seeing more passing yards.
No, because it's also influencing college. It's influencing high school. It's pretty. It's what everybody wants to put up. But you know what wins? 10 yards, 3 yards, and a cloud of dust.
Okay. I'll give you another reason why. 7-on-7. That's another reason why.
I will accept that. 7-on-7.
If we're going to get to 20 questions, let's take our first one now. At Dustin Brewer, at Drock178, Dustin says, you're around the team all the time. What's the vibe attitude of the team right now versus the Philbin era?
They're very confident. Confident, probably bordering on arrogant, and that was before they had 2 blowouts. Dan Campbell has changed the mentality, and as I say, he's unleashed the dogs. He's let all the dogs that were caged up by Joe Philbin come out, and they can bark and they can bite whoever they want. I put up a meme on Instagram earlier this week where, Dan Campbell's mentality is you keep what you kill. If if you want the ball, Lamar Miller, you go out there and you destroy your opponent. If you want more opportunities, Rashard Matthews, you take a 15-yard slant and you run it to the house. Jarvis Landry, same thing. If you get the ball to the playmakers and they're eating, you will get the ball more.
Just keep giving it to them.
Just keep giving it to them. And I think that is feeding on itself. And not only is that feeding on itself, but guys like Mike Pouncey, Billy Turner, Rashard Matthews, the guys you see blocking 40 yards downfield, they're doing it because they believe. And that is a complete drastic change and difference from what we saw under Joe Philbin. You didn't see anybody blocking 40, 50 yards downfield under Joe Philbin. It just wasn't happening.
You know, and I wonder if we're seeing a huge change in the way that head coaches are going to be hired down the stretch. I mean, this is just 2 games. So literally anything can happen going forward. But, I mean, look at the NBA. You've got guys like Jason Kidd, Derek Fisher.
Yeah.
These guys don't have all this coaching experience. They're closer to playing. And maybe this is what we're going to see now. We've talked about it before. Just because you're a good coordinator doesn't mean that you're going to be a head coach.
Absolutely. I think to be a head coach, what I've really learned, especially from the Joe Philbin era, is you need to be a leader of men. You know, there's a Game of Thrones reference where it's about, you know, what's more important, a lion leading a pack of sheep, or a sheep being led by a lion.
Right.
And I think that is sort of the mentality. Dan Campbell is a lion, and he wants to intimidate his opponent. He's not scared of New England. He's going up there with the mentality, they're great. They've got a dynamic team. They're excellently coached. But you know what? We're not going up there with the mentality of playing with fear.
And right now it's like a lion leading other lions, too.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, let's take our next Twitter question from @MatthewScott18. I'm liking Dan Campbell's intensity and leadership, but can he scheme and game plan like a Belichick?
Okay.
Can he scheme and game plan? Let's end the question there.
Well, that's not fair to Matthew, because nobody can scheme and game plan like Bill Belichick. And Dan Campbell said it yesterday. He talked about it. And I thought this was the first time I'd ever heard a coach put it so eloquently, what Bill Belichick does, the master of Bill Belichick. He will find what your weakness is. Dallas Thomas, Kelvin Shepard, Walt Aikens, Bobby McCain in the slot. He will find whatever your weakness is, and he will put a spotlight on it and attack it all game until it eventually breaks. He will also take away whatever your strength is. Jarvis Landry, the running game, and he will do something to contain it and say, okay, you're not going to beat me with that all game. Beat me with something else. And that's the brilliance of Belichick. Can anybody do it? No. But we will find out how well of a coach Dan Campbell is.
I guess we will, certainly. Let's move on. In order to keep this winning streak going, the Dolphins have to go and win in Foxborough, something they haven't done since 2008.
Wildcat!
And since that game, it's not like they've even really sniffed
Oh, that's
victories.
not true. I completely disagree with you.
Okay.
The last 2 games that the Dolphins have gone up to Foxborough, they have been dominating in the first half of those games.
Okay.
Convincing him. You remember the old Olivier Vernon kick fumble situation that led to the loss 2 years ago? And then special teams mistakes. And it's a snowball effect in the second half against Belichick. Then Dolphins were dominating last year in the first half. It was an unbelievable performance. They were physical. They were pushing the Patriots around. Then halftime came. And all of a sudden, Bill Belichick says, you know what? We're going to attack Philip Wheeler with Rob Gronkowski. That's going to be our approach. And 2 touchdowns later, you're trailing. And what happens is when you, with Joe Philbin, I can't say with Dan Campbell, we haven't even seen a Dan Campbell team trail. With Joe Philbin, once you're trailing, they suffocate themselves. As a team, they just suffocate themselves. Say, okay, forget the read option, forget the run game, let's pass. And you're just playing into Belichick's hand.
Well, I don't think that Campbell is going to do that. So
we don't know what he's going to do.
I guess we don't.
He's never trailed in an NFL game.
So what is the most compelling aspect as we get into this about Patriots versus Dolphins?
I don't think that people are going to make a huge issue about this, but I don't think that the Patriots are as good defensively as they've been in past years. And I'm not just talking about the secondary. I'm talking about, they're allowing 4.5 yards per carry. They are the 28th team in third down, a third down defense. allowing 42.9% of third down conversions. Now, of course, the offense is great.
Right.
The offense is number one in third down defense. Offense is number one in red zone efficiency, tied with Cincinnati. But if you can score points, which this Dolphins team has been able to do the past 2 weeks, you can put pressure on that defense. And while you don't want Tom Brady to have the ball last, you can certainly make it a game in the fourth quarter.
Well, I will say this about the Patriots defense is that they've obviously won every game, and a lot of those games have been games in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
And when they've needed stops, they're late in games, they've been able to do it.
Yes, absolutely. And I think they've got a very good linebacking core. I think the defensive line is a little bit shaky. And their secondary, while they've got good safeties, and I do love safe McCourty and Chung, they've got one good cornerback.
Right.
How many good receivers do the Dolphins have? I think they're about 4 strong.
Yeah, well.
And that doesn't even include Devontae Parker.
right.
So, while I would love to say that you want to air it out and have a gunfight with Tom Brady because the secondary can be attacked, I think the right strategy for the Dolphins is to pound the ball, run it at Patriots, run it at New England, and shorten the game.
Keep the ball out of Brady's hands.
Keep the ball out of Brady's hands.
All right, let's take our next Twitter question. It comes from Gary Dolphins. What is the best way for the Dolphins defense to stop Tom Brady on Thursday? In addition to keeping the ball out of his hands.
You know what? You've got to mix it up. You've got to keep him confused. You've got to show him different coverages. Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time. And if you want to deny that, look at his record. Look at his Super Bowl championships. Look at his wife. Look, he's got everything. And he's one of the smartest quarterbacks. The most difficult thing about Tom Brady is getting pressure on him. Because at the end of his 3-step drop, I watched the film of his past 2 games. 1, 2, 3, balls out. 5-step drop. 1, 2, 3, balls out. How do you stop that? How do you get pressure? Other than putting pressure in his face, which is why Ndamukong Suh is here, you're not going to get Brady. You can hit him late, but more than likely you're going to get a flag.
Right.
His offensive line has some challenges, and he's been sacked 10 times in the last 2 weeks. But has it stopped him from derailing every team's future, every team's success?
And he's an immobile quarterback, but he's got an incredible pocket presence.
Yeah.
Just the little moves that he can do to avoid going down, the things that Ryan Tannehill can't do right now.
You said it, I didn't.
Brady is great at it. So, all right. Ironically, Dolphins have split the series the last 2 years, but the game is, at least not in the second half, has been that competitive. How can the Dolphins turn this tide?
I've always said this about New England. You have to have 2 game plans, 2 approaches going into the Patriots. 2, what you do in the first half and what you do in the second half. If Bill Belichick isn't looking at his little Microsoft tablet and scheming it, trying to figure out what you're doing, if he's just standing on the sidelines, folding his hands, looking like he's bored, you're toast.
Yeah.
Because he's figured it out and he knows how to attack you. You have to change things up against Bill Belichick, and that's why they won the Wildcat. You've got to blindside him. I mean, sucker punch him to the point where he has no idea what's coming. Unfortunately, on this short week, there's no way to do that because you basically don't even have time to practice. You can't even have a physical practice. It's all walkthrough. It's all film work. It's all go in. The Thursday night game, here's what the challenge is of the Thursday night game. Whoever wins is usually better at their base stuff than the opponent or makes the least amount of mistakes. Well, what team would it be worse to play on a Thursday night other than the Patriots, who are not going to beat themselves?
Right.
And who do their base stuff better than anybody in the NFL. I mean, we know what Brady's going to do. He's going to throw the ball to Julian Edelman, and they're going to run the ball with Blunt, and then he's going to pass the ball to Lewis or whoever is back there. Can't stop it. They're going to do it, but you can't stop it.
I don't know, but at the same time, under Campbell, they've again. I don't think that this is a thinking man's team that the Dolphins have. They're going out and just trying to pound you, and that physicality.
They're playing caveman football.
A little bit, right?
Yeah, I think you can win.
And so there's not a whole lot of game planning that's going into playing caveman football.
True, but you're going to have to game plan to outsmart Bill Belichick.
I think that's the thing. Is okay. Well, we're going to go out. We're going to do. That's what we've heard a lot. Is that under Philbin there was a lot of when they do that, we're going to do that. When they do that, we're going to do that.
It's
When they do that,
reaction,
we're going to do that. And under Campbell, it's we're doing this to you.
Yes.
The problem now is going to be okay. Well, what happens when Jarvis Landry gets shut
Yes.
down? Now what do you do?
That's famous Mike Tyson saying, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Right.
And Dan Campbell's team has punched a lot of teams in the mouth for the past 2 weeks. How is he going to respond when his team gets punched in the mouth by New England?
I get 30 seconds to answer this Twitter question. Who is on Gronk? That's from @Tampa27.
Tough challenge, tough battle. Deion Jordan has done an admirable job covering Gronk, but we all know the length is not here with Deion Jordan. Chris McCain is the similar type of athlete, but I don't think Chris McCain is going to be playing. It's going to be Jelani Jenkins, and it's going to be a combination of Rashad Jones and probably a little bit of Michael Thomas.
Rashad Jones, I think, is the only one that I would have.
But here's the thing. If you put Rashad Jones covering Gronk, then who's going to stop the run in the box? Because that's what Rashad Jones' specialty is.
All right. Let's move on. The Dolphins are now averaging 5.3 rushing yards in those last two games.
First in the NFL, folks.
Who deserves this credit?
Dan Campbell and the offensive line. Probably even, I would say, Lamar Miller, I've always been in Lamar camp. I've always said, why the hell does he only touch the ball 14 times a game? It's driven me insane for the past 2 years. I'm glad to see that they're using him as featured back. I'm glad to see that they're feeding him. But also the changes that were made to the offensive line. You get Brandon Albert back. That's a very good left tackle. It's the most expensive player on your team right now when we're talking about cap dollars. You get Billy Turner inserted into the starting lineup. If for those who have followed me, I have been banging the table.
Right.
Why hasn't Billy Turner been included into the offensive line? And then I'm very critical of Dallas Thomas, as you know, but I would like to point out he probably played his best game of the season last week. The 5 plays of Dallas Thomasness that you usually
Yes.
get were at a minimum. You saw him blocking down the field, and Bill Lazor even said it, and I've never really given this some thought. Up until this point, Dallas Thomas might have been the best run blocker until Billy Turner arrived on the team. And right now they've got him pulling, they're keeping things simple, and it's just allowing him to let his physicality come out.
All right. After some really rough games to start the season, Ryan Tannehill has had 2 of his best games the past 2 weeks. So who deserves credit for that?
The running game.
Yeah.
I think when you take pressure off Tannehill, when you keep the play-action game, I've always thought that he is a play-action quarterback. He is the second coming of Jake Plummer. And while Dolphin fans will be like, Jake Plummer? We don't want Jake Plummer. Sorry, that's the quarterback that you have. You need...
Jake Plummer was a top 8 to 10 quarterback in the NFL there back then, and at his high point. He had some good years.
At his high point, yes.
Yeah.
The problem that you have with Ryan Tannehill, and I say this all the time, we've done this show for a couple years now, and I say the exact same thing all the time. You will have the high games where you get 100 rating, or you get a perfect quarterback rating, or you set NFL records like you saw on Sunday when he completed 25 straight passes. You will have that Ryan Tannehill. Then you will also have the Tannehill that played against the Jets and the Bills, where he barely cracks a 60 quarterback rating, where he turns the ball over 3 times, where his accuracy is just everywhere, where he's not efficient in the red zone, and where he can't connect on the deep ball. When you add the perfect quarterback rating versus the quarterback who played against the Bills and the Jets, altogether it comes up to the 15th quarterback in the NFL, which is exactly where Ryan Tannehill is in his quarterback rating. His quarterback rating ranks him the 15th best quarterback in the NFL. The question is, can you win with that? Now, if you have a dominant defense, if you have a physical rushing attack, absolutely. You just got that this past 2 weeks. But for this team to be a playoff team, Ryan Tannehill will have to take his game to the next level. We're talking connecting on more deep passes. He's getting better. Is he where he needs to be? No. We're talking efficiency in the red zone. The Dolphins are the NFL's worst team. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Efficiency on third downs. The Dolphins are the NFL's worst team on third downs. They're converting 28.6% of third downs. That's the most important down in all of the NFL. We're talking a quarterback who is better in the fourth quarter. I have said this for 4 straight years. Ryan Tannehill needs to get better yards per attempt. Ryan Tannehill needs to get better on third downs. Ryan Tannehill needs to get better in fourth quarter performances. He's still bad in all 3.
Yeah, we still need to see that. And, also make no mistake, 3 touchdown passes of over 50 yards. Well, one was a 10-yard out to Jarvis Landry.
right
Had
after catch.
the other one was a nice pass to Rashard Matthews, but he did the rest of the work. And another was a screen pass.
Hey,
So
don't ignore that Devontae Parker deep ball. That was a pretty deep
Okay,
ball.
that
2 straight deep ball didn't count, but it happened. We saw it.
well, still, you're right. We haven't seen Tannehill do those things that we still at the beginning of the year were wondering whether or not he could do.
Consistency. He's got to bring his consistency level up. What I like about Tannehill is he does not turn the ball over. He's not, even some of the interceptions that he had during the Jets game, balls batted in the air, funky stuff. He's not just going to throw boneheaded passes, and that's what I like about him, but he does need to be more aggressive, and I think you're seeing him start to become more aggressive.
And we see that, too, in the difference between these two offenses. In the Patriots offense, really the pressure is on Brady to make the throws to get first downs. Here in this Dolphins offense, the pressure is more on the receivers. Tannehill, get the ball to them, and then you guys go do something. You guys go make the plays. Jarvis Landry, go make that ridiculous play. Hashtag I love Landry. Hashtag Jarvis. Hashtag Landry is the Mandry.
Landry is the Mandry?
You don't like Landry is the Mandry? You don't like that one?
What's this Dree part?
It rhymes with Landry.
It's not a
No,
word.
no, but it's Landry. Just listen.
Let it go.
You're not on the internet enough. All right, let's take our next.
I'm not on the internet
let's,
now.
Let's
Okay.
take this next true question. It's from Matthew Lee. I think we get one from him every week. Who is the Dolphin that no one is talking about that needs to be recognized for his play, even if it is just average?
Oh, that's a good question.
Okay.
That's why Matthew is the king of questions.
He's
which
the king of questions?
He is the king of questions. Somebody needs to take Matthew down. He might ask me 10, and I just pick the best one. To me, I got 2 really dark horse surprises. Did you know that Michael Thomas has started 4 straight weeks?
I did. We've talked a little bit about it here on the show.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about it. And while he's not in the nickel package, he's a very important player in the safety, in the secondary. He's also a team captain.
Right.
Which people will be like, huh? Michael Thomas is a team captain? Well, he's
Special
a special
teams,
teams player.
right.
He is one of the top special teams players. He is one of the more pleasant surprises on the team. And then Deion Sims. The presence that he has as an inline blocker, moving people, getting people out the way, presence that he has as a pass catcher, red zone threat, tremendous, especially when you pair it with Jordan Cameron. Teams cannot predict what the heck is going to happen when Deion Sims is on the field just because he can maul us or he can run a route. We have no idea.
Yeah, and there was at least one time, too, where they split him out wide, ran a wide receiver screen his
Yes.
way, and he just paved the way for a big play. All right, we're going to take some rapid-fire questions from you guys for all of our live viewers coming up after we wrap this show up. So before
Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. But let's get to prediction time. What do you think is going to happen in this game? Can this remarkable 2-game stretch continue to what is probably the hardest game of the year, short week at New England?
I will say, it probably is the hardest game of the year because of the short week. But I think also the short week will help you because Belichick can't do his magic in just 2 days.
But we just talked about he could do his magic at halftime.
He can do his magic at halftime. He can't do it in 2 days. And it's the unfamiliarity with a Dan Campbell team. I think that plays into Miami's favor. However, I am not going to predict that the Dolphins will go up to Foxborough and beat the New England Patriots. I haven't seen it. Not many teams have even done it. You do not beat the Patriots. Have the best record in Foxborough in the NFL for the last decade.
Right.
They are virtually unbeatable. You could say whatever you want about deflating balls at halftime, but they're virtually unbeatable in Foxborough. I think that it's going to be probably a 27. I'll give the Dolphins a respectable 20-point loss to New England.
All right, and I think we've talked about it. I think the first half, I think the Dolphins come out great. I think they come out strong. I think they're actually winning at halftime. I think this is a Dolphins-dominated first half, but then Belichick.
Belichick
works his magic.
He starts cooking.
Pats 28-23.
28-23.
Yeah,
Right.
Dolphins. But still, lots to be excited about. No reason to hang your head. It's going to be a great game. Make sure you go to Sentinel.com right here. Watch your 1st and 10 with Jay Ajayi.
Jay Ajayi. We've also got one with Cedric Thompson, Dolphins rookie safeties. 1st and 10, I try to knock off all the new guys.
We're back on our regular time, day, and place on X's and Omar right here on the SunSentinel.com. Thanks for watching.
Fans were always so engaged. Oh, we're not.
All right. we are still live here as Omar unlocks his laptop, and we're going to take here some of your questions live. So thank you, everyone who's been watching.
I did want to answer some questions that I had on Twitter. I know you.
Okay.
You
I'll pick out some good ones here while you answer those
all right.
questions.
Let's see. Is Belichick target from Doug Hoff something? Is Belichick's target to neutralize Landry or Miller? And it has to be Landry, just based on what they did last year, where they put Revis on Landry. That was unorthodox. Belichick knows this team is driven by Landry. He gave him about the highest praise I've ever heard anybody give Landry, where he says he's probably the most dangerous returner in the NFL. I don't agree with Belichick, but he blows a lot of smoke. But I think the game plan is Landry. There's no way to stop a running game if a team is really committed to run, unless you're going to put 8 in the box. And they could do that. Put 8 in the box, everybody at the line of scrimmage, one safety backfield, and say to Ryan Tannehill, beat us deep.
Right. I've got the Crunchy Dragon.
Okay, Crunchy Dragon.
Yeah, we talked on Twitter last week that I've been told that is not any kind of sexual move or
All
anything
right.
like that. So I can call him the Crunchy Dragon. His question is about Sue. Is this Sue's game to shine, is what he asks. I'm going to switch that a little bit and say, is Sue the key to this game for the Dolphins? Is that because that's the only way that I see the Dolphins winning this game is if Sue controls that line of scrimmage and gets that pressure in Brady's face every play.
Cameron Wake. And Cameron Wake eats off the table that Sue sets.
Okay.
A healthy Cameron Wake has given you 6 sacks in 2 weeks. 6 sacks and 4 forced fumbles in 2 weeks. He's got a good 2 sacks and 2 forced fumbles in him, and he generally has a good game against Brady. Nate Solder has a routine and trick for holding and falling on Cameron Wake. They've got to make it well known to the referees that that's what the Patriots do. The strategy that New England has is when Wake does his twist and bend coming from the right side, Nate Solder just falls on him. And somehow they've got to make sure that the refs start calling that.
Okay. What are the, let's see. Malchewicz asks, how about Deion Sims line up at fullback?
He does line up at fullback. Right. So does Earl Mitchell. Thank God that Dan Campbell believes in fullbacks. Praise him. Joe Philbin, I harassed him for years till I gave up and realized Joe Philbin does not believe in fullbacks, does not like fullbacks, will not carry a fullback on a 53-man roster. And the Dolphins still don't carry a fullback on a 53-man roster, but they believe in having Ryan Tannehill under center, thank God, and they believe in having a fullback there as a lead blocker. That only becomes important when you need it on a 3rd and 2, and we've seen the Dolphins fall short of those 3rd and 2s.
Well, you bring that up. I thought that was a play that we were going to wind up talking a lot about in the first half, and it got lost because the first half was so great. But there was a 3rd and 1 there. I think it was on the second drive where Jonas Gray came out and they basically fell down on his face.
Absolutely.
Is Jonas Gray really going to be their 3rd and 1 guy?
I think he should be. I think he deserves to be. I'm not going to judge him on that one play. I think Lamar Miller is good at it as well.
Yeah.
Lamar Miller was efficient at it last year, but you need a little bit more power when you're trying to get those physical 3rd ones, and Lamar Miller isn't going to fall forward.
Okay, Nick asks, Pats played 8 in the box all day against the Jets to take away the run, but Jets didn't have the tight ends to expose the seam.
Correct.
That is not a question. That's a statement. You agree with that?
I agree with that, and I watched that game, and I thought it was very interesting what they did. They basically said to Ryan Fitzpatrick, beat us.
Right.
And they're probably going to take the same approach with Ryan Tannehill, even though Bill Belichick claims he's got a great deal of respect. Ryan Tannehill, yes, he's thrown big passes the last 2 weeks, and I'm not just talking about the run after catch, but can Ryan Tannehill find his receiver one-on-one downfield and make that throw? And we kind of haven't seen it consistently for 4 years. And Bill Belichick, if we're going to just talk about what weaknesses are on the Dolphins, Dallas Thomas, Kelvin Shepard, the inside linebacker, Bill Belichick's going to keep him on the field. Walt Aikens, they're going to be playing a lot of nickel, just keep Walt Aikens and not Michael Thomas on the field. Bobby McCain, who's going to be trying to cover Julian Edelman. That looks like a bad matchup waiting to happen. They're going to take away Jarvis Landry, and they're going to force Ryan Tannehill on 3rd down. They're going to give him a single safety high look and say, hey, Ryan, take that. And Ryan's going to say, no, thank you. I'm going to throw checkdowns.
Well, and I think, too, that we both picked somewhat close games here.
Yeah.
And we both think that the Dolphins are going to go up there and play well. But
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I think they're going to play well.
I
And
don't
the
know.
issue comes down to if this is a close game in the 4th quarter, Ryan Tannehill or Tom Brady.
Well,
You know,
it
and
usually,
that's
it
one
usually
of
the last 2 years comes down to who has the ball last, and I think that Ryan Tannehill has won that the last 2 years. No, Sean Marino had a lot to do with it
Right.
at one point. I'm not scared of Ryan Tannehill in the fourth quarter in a close game, especially against this Patriots defense. What I am scared of is Tom Brady, 2 minutes left, and Michael Thomas won that game too
Right.
2 years ago.
Right.
Tom Brady, 2 minutes left. You know he's going to do his thing. How are you going to stop it? Dolphins have gotten lucky.
Yeah, they have. Okay, I actually just had a good questions, but I lost it. Go ahead, hit
Here's
me.
what you find it. Jay Beer asks, should I believe in the ultimate turnaround now? And I say do not believe in it until you see what happens after the Bills game. I'm not judging Dan Campbell on what happens on Thursday night. I'm not judging Dan Campbell on what happens in the first 2 games, those 2 blowout victories. I will judge him based on what I see in Buffalo. In Buffalo, on the road, against Rex Ryan's physical team. You take your physical team and you say, we're going to punch you first, and you do what it takes to win in Buffalo. After that, if the Dolphins, let's say, finish 3-4 in those 4-game periods, heading into the final stretch of the season, then I will gain a ton of respect for Dan Campbell. But I still think that he needs to get this team to 8-8 in order to be considered the head coach.
Yeah, I mean, ultimate turnaround's a little, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Are they a lot better now
Tremendous
than they were 2
turnaround.
weeks? Of course, they've had a turnaround. Yes, they went from one of the 4 worst teams in the AFC to, I mean, right now, one of the 8 best teams in the AFC.
Yeah.
But they got to get to top 6.
Julian Luco asked a good question. I'm going to ask you this question. If
Yes.
Miami beats the Jets and Bills away, are they back in the playoff race?
Well, they're back in the playoff race now.
Yeah.
They
3
are
and
back
3.
in the playoff race now because you look at, I mean, there's not a lot of middling good teams in the AFC. You know, you look at the teams that are going to win their divisions, the Patriots, the Bengals, whoever's going to win that garbage
Denver.
AFC South, and Denver. Those are your 4 winners, and then you really don't have that many
Yeah.
other good teams.
You're competing with the Jets, Oakland.
The Steelers,
Yeah.
and, you know, the Bills, I guess, and
If you
who
win-
else? I mean, that's 5 teams right there. So 2 of those 5 teams are making the playoffs with the Dolphins.
I think if you can split the series with all your AFC East opponents and hold your own against Philadelphia and Dallas and Baltimore, I think you have a good chance of getting to that in that final wild card spot.
I mean, we make a big deal about it's going to be a huge game, the end of the season game against the Patriots. How tough is that going to? Well, you know what? The Patriots might not have anything to play for in that game. You might be getting a lot of Jimmy Garoppolo.
Nothing wrong with Jimmy Garoppolo.
There's nothing wrong with Jimmy Garoppolo, but I'm just saying.
He ain't Tom Brady, yeah.
The Perk 13.
The perk?
The Perk 13. Who has been the Dolphins' MVP?
I would say it's Jarvis Landry from this standpoint. Not only does he lead the team, I believe it was with 4 touchdowns. I have watched a shift in the dynamics of that team where it goes from Mike Pouncey's team to Jarvis Landry's team. And I'm talking about the alpha male in the room.
Yeah.
And Jarvis is the alpha male now. And that's nothing to do with Mike Pouncey. He's still an alpha male. But Jarvis is the biggest gorilla in that locker room right now. And therefore, they take on that tone. Remember the Bills and Jets game? You're looking and that team is dead and they're playing lifeless, but Jarvis Landry was still out there fighting. And I think that has inspired a lot of those players.
I mean, it's that play. I mean,
Yeah.
when he scores, when he catches the ball at the 50 at that sideline, says, "I'm going to do whatever it takes to get it into the end zone, whatever it takes." I mean, I'm inspired just by watching it. Stroopy 2. Stroopy. Will Ross hire Campbell this week if they beat the
I think
Pats?
that's the most ridiculous thing.
That's why I like
question.
it. It's a great
I've
question.
actually put one of my favorite followers in the corner on a timeout for 2 days. Don't get caught in the moment.
No.
You got caught in the moment of the Minnesota win, and I know that Ross was probably going to keep Joe Philbin anyway. But don't get caught up in the moment. Evaluate the whole process. Let the whole season play out. Yeah, if they beat the Patriots and Dan Campbell's team is 3-0, what happens if they lose the next 6?
Yeah.
Don't get caught up.
Well,
in
there's
the
no
moment.
reason to. I mean, there's just no reason to name him the head coach. You might as well just wait. You know, he's not going to leave
Let him earn
at
it.
the end of the year.
Let him earn it. I mean, earn it. As I said from the beginning, my barometer for Dan Campbell is you win 7 of the 12 games that you play. You produce a winning record in your tenure as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Don't matter what the end result of the record is. If you win 7 of 12 games, you're a pretty damn good coach in the NFL, no matter how you do it.
Alex G asked a good question. So we know what the Patriots are probably going to do. They're going to try to shut down Jarvis Landry.
I think they might try to run the ball too. But
Okay.
go ahead.
Will Grimes shadow Edelman? Is that one of the keys to having the Dolphins win, is by having Grimes be just on Edelman the whole time?
You know what?
We talk about Gronk, and we talk about that running game, but really the key to their offense is
Is
Edelman, is having
Yeah.
him continue to move the sticks.
I was thinking about that on my ride in today, and Brent Grimes responded so well to the challenge of covering the hottest receiver in the NFL, DeAndre Hopkins, shadowing him all game, containing him to 5 catches for 50, 60 yards, and really a lot of it was just cheapies.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah,
He played an incredible game.
A lot of it was just cheapies, but Brent played an incredible game. And I have not seen Brent in the slot very often, but I have no doubt or concern in my mind that he can play anything and play in the slot. I think that he would love the challenge of this responsibility, and I think that he should get it. If we know that Julian Edelman is going to get the ball 10 times a game,
Right.
45 receptions, tremendously targeted player, why not put your best cornerback on him and take away that cheap, easy little pass that, you know, it's an amazing pass. The beauty, what people don't understand is the beauty of Tom Brady is his passes are so accurate. Not only does the ball come out real quick, not only does he have such a rapid release,
Right.
but it's right there on the numbers.
I mean, Edelman doesn't even, he just puts his hands up,
Yeah.
and the ball is there.
Yes, and it allows him to make plays, run after catch, and it's hard to defend. It's impossible to defend. And if you take that away, I think you have a chance.
But one of the things that's made that offense difficult this year is that Danny Amendola has been kind of turning into Edelman 2.0. And now they've got sort of 2 guys there. Let's just take 1 or 2 more. We really are enjoying this so far. But let's take one from RJL. What do you think of Terrence Fidei? How has he been playing this year?
Mediocre.
All right, that was not a good one to take.
Here's a question from Coach Rich. Where do you stand on the "we can't win unless we're having fun" thing? Paid millions to not give your all. And I'm glad he asked that question, because I do believe that that is something in a trend that I've noticed inside that locker room. Yes, winning is fun, but even when they're not winning, they are hinting that we didn't enjoy our job. We weren't having fun. We didn't like who was leading us. Now we're actually having fun. Now he gets us. And I really don't, I heard something from a player where they didn't have confidence in Kevin Coyle, and that's why they second-guessed everything that he did.
Right.
And even though the play was called, you're probably not doing your assignment because you're out there second-guessing him like he don't know what he's doing.
Right.
And at some point, did they lose confidence in Joe Philbin? My answer is yes. But should that have impacted the way you played and the effort that you made? I say no. And it bothers me a little bit that it did. And all of a sudden you make a change, and yes, the change should have been made a long time ago, and probably players know the change should have been made a long time ago, and you put a leader in front of a team, and you allow him to unleash all the dogs, and you allow him to players to set the tone.
Make you be you. Make you be you.
Exactly. If you're in an environment where you feel like you're allowed to be you, and people will have your back instead of chastising you for being yourself, yeah, it should make you play harder and should make you have more fun and enjoy your job better. But you're paid quite well to do your job.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're paid well or not. If you have a boss that tells you to do something that you don't agree with what they say, you're doing one of 2 things. You're 1, straight out rebelling, or 2, you're saying, well, he's my boss.
He don't know what
I've
he's
got to
doing.
do this. He doesn't know what he's doing, but let's see what happens. And if that doesn't work, then you've lost all confidence that you have in everything that you do and everything that your leader and boss is doing.
You just described the Joe Philbin era.
And that's the Joe Philbin era. Thank you so much for joining this little extra
Overtime.
Overtime? You want to call that overtime?
Sure.
I don't know.
Let's
We
go
just
for it.
branded it just now. Just now. We're going to try to do this every week. So thanks for joining us, and keep sending us great questions during the week using the hashtag #XOmar on Twitter.